Hello, everyone. So, for question one, what role do grand juries play? They play a significant role in the criminal justice system because they review all the evidence that's being presented from the prosecutor to the grand jury. So, the prosecutor is presenting all this evidence to the grand jury without the defense knowing any of this. So, like, this is being done on the side. And, the defense can't really, turn around and be like, oh, like, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. Because, if they have the evidence and they have it in front of them, they can do that without the defendant's approval or anything. The grand jury's goal is to determine if the case is strong enough to proceed to the next stage of the justice process by determining those elements and factors and evidence of what the prosecutor is being presented to the grand jury. For question two, do grand juries violate the constitutional right of witnesses and defendants? Me personally, no. I feel like it's only fair. If you're in front of a grand jury, well, you're more than likely probably guilty of the crime. So I feel like it's only fair that what's being done, all of the decision making, there's no judge, when you're during the grand jury, you get no legal representation. I feel like that can that could be like an argument right there. But even during the Fifth Amendment, it even states that no person shall be held accountable for a serious crime without an indictment by a grand jury. And if you're in front of a grand jury, well, like I said, you probably did the act or the crime. But some argue that it's not fair, it violates the rights, because the defendant gets no attorney when you're in front of the grand jury, with no legal representation. And grand jurors, prosecutors aren't the only one who, or I'm sorry, grand jurors aren't the only one who have power. The prosecutors have as much power as them, because I feel like the prosecutors have more power than the judge, honestly, because based off the evidence that's being presented to them, and it's stack, and it's right there in front of you, more than likely they're gonna go persuade on the prosecutor's side, because it's all about public safety. They're trying to get the crime out of society, out of the streets. So if they feel like they pick decisions based off what they feel like is best for society, with the public. Although judges can't, they shouldn't go based off what the public thinks. Sometimes you get those ones that go based off their personal emotions. And I mean, it can't be proven. You can vote them out, I guess, but you know but anyways, yeah. So like I said, grand jurors aren't the only one who hold power. Prosecutors too, like I said. You know they basically help with that decision making. Basically, they're the ones who you know they feed off of each other, basically. I mean, even though they shouldn't. um you know the jury pretty much goes based off what the prosecutor, the way it's presenting themselves and whatnot. um Prosecutors also, they work with law enforcement. Like, therefore, like, law enforcement and prosecutors, they want the same thing. They want criminals behind bars. So basically, prosecutors, they are for police. And both, like I said, both support the same decision. Yeah, that's all I had.